This email is the letter of query and request sent to the Helsinki District Court and Judge Gisela McPherson on the 11th of July 2025. Please note, all requests, all queries were ignored, and the court clerks, a group of cliché, mean girl cis women, set about even gigglingly abusing me when I tried to get a PDF of the court papers so I could send them to a lawyer. The letter to the court itself follows a short introduction, indictment, and final coda on the last years of my life as a prisoner of corruption and coercive control abuse. This video goes out to Judge Gisela McPherson of the Helsinki District Court. Thank you for making it in no uncertain terms clear that I have no rights to evidence, no rights to witnesses, no rights to a lawyer, no rights to control of my own language rights. No rights to control of my own language rights, nothing. And that you, Judge Gisela McPherson, will partake in continued abuse of a disabled person and treating them as if they're some guilty, subhuman scumbag. Late afternoon on the 11th of July 2025, Otto Stahlhammer, the pet corrupt bailiff in this, who has previously served me with fake summons not filed with the district court, which I then had to attend court with a witness to discover they were not indeed filed with the court, and the court clerk I had spoken to on the phone had once again lied to me. Following a pattern post the 12th of February 2024 of raid of terrorizing me with court filings, cancelling court filings at the last minute, having bailiffs at my door, then lying about, I thought they were retracted, and then fake court filings, threats of more police violence and police raids via false statements, refusal to retract false statements, even those that were evidenced as false by as something as obvious as a finalised 4E Dublin Circuit Court dismissal, provided as a tested copy by the Dublin High Court. All of which comprise just some of the coercive control abuse by Anna Voivoda and her lawyer, Hanna Rivari, and Hannah's client, Anna, Helsinki University Law Department PhD candidate, lawyer, Valu aka Lumos, which they have relentlessly subjected me to since 2023. Keeping in mind, before Anna Voivoda escalated the false reports to the Helsinki police, including the false statements that I had psychosis when I have nil history of psychosis, and, the psychological abuse had reached such dizzying heights as to have her mimicking recordings of my abusive female parent to cause distress at me, or in me, before gaslighting me about these, or then eventually apologizing, or blaming me for the police torture I suffered. Somehow that was my fault. I was coming right at them, or I wore the wrong clothes or something, telling me I did not understand my child's sexual abuse, nor did I understand the violent attempted rape I fought off, and that I was a narcissist who wanted a life not defined by abuse. So you can kind of gather it had reached like absolutely out there heights, and that includes, this is after being basically told that she was going to murder me and had the power of life and death over me. So, it's been a long road into hell. However, Judge Gisela McPherson and the abusive, giggling, mean girl, cis women bigots of the Helsinki District Court clerks, refusing me basic rights under law, the Finnish Constitution, and human rights law, refusing even something so simple as a PDF of the court papers so I could properly and easily reply for legal representation, refusing my disability status even when I have valid B certificates, which are the Finnish, document for being disabled and off work, and refusing that, refusing to recognize even my reference to the Helsinki Center for the treatment of victims of torture. You know, that there's a level of incoherence and dehumanization here that it's impossible to address. And that has Judge Gisela McPherson, I want you to know this in no uncertain terms, that has been the final nail in the coffin for me. You didn't even bother to kind of give it a slow run-up of abuse. You just went straight in, full knuckle. When I am finished this video, I intend to pack up and go to a pre-chosen spot and make my peace. Drink a beer, smoke a cigarette or two, take some muscle relaxants, and then walk into the sea. I understand that it is a pattern of Anna Voivoda's coercive control abuse and the abuse of her position as a master's of psychology, though she was never, ever my psychologist, to try and twist and fabricate narratives of mental health here. But as the last and latest email to the Helsinki police from my psychiatrist, Dr. Veli-Matti Kaupamäki, shows, I have nil history of psychosis. This is not made in disordered or delusional thought. This is not made to make anyone feel bad. It is not made out of incoherent emotional choice. It is a long considered decision where I tried to find every possibility of any option that did not lead to the sea. I understand, that there will be attempts to twist the narrative. I mean, Anna has quite a lot of colleagues from her years in psychology, and they're willing to do small things because they don't understand the situation and they believe her lies, which is why now my medical records in Hartman have been fabricated by Dr. Andres Nette, and him and Huss have refused, and that's why I've had to publish the audio that contradicts the entire of my medical records from the 12th of February, which now include complete fabrications, such as that I tried to burn down an entire apartment block in Dublin and other things. In the face of the corruption and denial of personhood and rights by a corrupt coterie of cis women Helsinki judges, which began with Judge Kirsti Konen and was continued by the abusive little tug, Judge Camilla Ramasem, the incoherent Judge Rika Rask and her complete denial of rights, and now Judge Gisela McPherson. In a situation where I am trapped in a coercive control abuse prison by the narcissistic psychopath Anna Voivoda, who has promised to either murder me or have me locked up via false statements, who terrorized me with threats of prison when I was trying to just get my belongings back, and has made and created this entire artificial situation, and been enabled to by corrupt bigger cops, who she has consistently lied to. This is a long considered decision on self-defense against a situation of no rights and no quality of life, no chance at freedom, no access to justice, and this group of scumbag judges denying and obstructing my access to justice in my Irish police brutality case as a point of leering idiot abuse. And they don't like being talked back to or the truth of their actions being shown to them, because, cis women do not like the consequences of their actions, and that's something that we as a planet will have to talk about at some time, but I won't be there for that. When the chronic stress caused by Anna Voivoda's imbecile lawyer, Hannah Rivari, and refusal to retract false statements, remembering false statements that are so easily proved as false as like the attested judgment from the Dublin High Court clerk's office. It has caused so much chronic stress that it caused the destruction of my last relationship with someone I loved very, very much, who in the end could not stand or withstand the chronic stress and watching me be destroyed slowly and bullied, in their own words, by members of the Helsinki District Court. This is my only access to freedom. I make this fully aware that it is the modus operandi of Finnish judges and members of the Finnish legal community and Anna Voivoda to basically make everything I say a lie or something. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how deep into this rabbit warren thing that they've got into of everything I say is a lie, because I keep presenting evidence, and then their only response to presented evidence is to go and ignore it. They can't even answer it. It's really pathetic. But you know, I make this choice hoping I am brave enough to keep swimming until exhaustion and death. I don't do this without fear. If you are watching this and feeling low, this is not the decision for you. It is terrifying, and it will be very painful. You are not in my position, regardless of what you think, and more than likely you have people who care. After 7 years of fighting police brutality and corruption, I am left with no one. My last chance at life, taken over by this God-complex fantasist abuser, psychologist, never my psychologist, Anna Voivoda, and enabled by corrupt, entrenchantly bigoted Helsinki police. You, who may be down or low, have to know it is not the decision for you. No, it is a lonely decision, and one made from the depths of a destroyed life, held captive prisoner by an abusive, evil, narcissist liar. Where once Anna Voivoda and her patient, Helsinki University Law Department PhD candidate and lawyer Valu, aka Lumo, and the chat log with them will be in the link comments. And later the lawyer, Hannah Rivari, began to decide I should have no rights, no access to law, steal legal documents, steal medical records, and keep me a sort of torture monkey prisoner, dancing on a hot organ grinder. This became the only decision. I do not make this supporting this decision for anyone else. It is not. If you were listening to this and feeling low, please seek help from your friends. Reach out. They are there. I do not personally see any other options. The Finnish legal system is abusive by choice. It's slow and drags out, and the judges drag things out deliberately. It is a system of favors and bigotry. Even if I got a miracle lawyer like Marco Friedman, it could take 10 years to extricate myself from the mess and hell of selfish, solipsistic, make it all about herself, everything's about Anna, sort of like nightmare that it would completely destroy my access to justice with my Irish police brutality case. And that's what she wants, ultimately. As much destruction and control. So, I'm left with no options. There is no such thing as law in Finland. And when the judges, such as Gisela McPherson, refuse their legal obligations as written in the Finnish law when presented with evidence of misconduct by other judges and false statements to the court and police, and refuse to do what they are legally obliged to do by the Finnish law that enacts their very positions and the positions of all civil servants, then there is no law, and there is definitely no other option but death. Honeybee, if you ever hear this, I'm sorry for this cunt and her cunt assistant, and I'm sorry what they forced you to watch and live through. Know that I love you. Thanks for all the support from everyone who could when they could. Now follows the email from the 11th of July sent to the court and Judge Gisela McPherson. The email was titled R25 888 query, and it was sent the day I got the summons. I sent the email in my usual format when I don't have anyone's assistance, because the ban from the Public Legal Aid Office means that I can't even get language rights processed, and there's a phone recording about that. That's remained for a while. It's completely unconstitutional and against human rights, but they don't give a fuck. That's Finland. So always I would put a deep L translation in Finnish, because the language of the court is Finnish, and then I would do the English at the end for checking in case like I ended up wandering from a normal sentence into talking about fucking walnuts or something. So, here is the original English. Hi. My sincere apologies. Due to an unconstitutional block and ban via legal aid, I am forced to write to the court using Deep L translation. I have placed the original English for clarification at the end of this. 1. I would like to attend the hearing if I have legal representation. I suffer severely from post-traumatic stress disorder, ADHD, chronic pain. See attached B certificates. Please read on related to that. I will be in attendance. However, I will also need to be in attendance remotely. I cannot be in the same room as Anna Voiroverta or Hannah Rivari after the nightmare of abuse and fraud and police violence via false reporting that they've put me through. It is not wise, especially given Hannah Rivari's evidenced history of stating my torture at the hands of Irish police and police brutality case. And 4E Dublin Circuit Court pre-arraignment dismissal did not happen. If that continues, I cannot say how I will react. Remote link to the court is best. I will also likely need court support, emotional support. Please see my birth certificates and referral to the Centre for the Victims of Torture and War Crimes Treatment. The opposing party has put me through a living nightmare since approximately late September 2023, when they were the driver in a car crash where I suffered 3 major herniated discs in my cervical spine and 2 minor. Legal obstruction and perjury and other legal matters in Finland, and the protracted attempt at obstruction of my Irish police brutality case to such a degree that I cannot be in the same room as either her or her lawyer, and I've made that clear since 2024. 2. Re-evidence. Yes, I intend to present evidence, documents, emails, phone recordings, videos, links. I would ask time and delay, please, to provide the court with that. 13 days is not long enough. I am sorry. I am disabled, and as the court will discover, currently forced to be without legal representation. Please note, the attached are not the final evidence. They are just supplemental to this response and query to the court. 3. Witnesses. I also intend to call witnesses, including my psychiatrist, Dr. Veli-Matti Kaupamaki, and the New York Iranian author, Porachista Kapoor, Taz Wake, UK-based infosec security expert, who tried to mediate with Anna Voiroverta back in 2024, My ex-partner, who I am currently afraid to name in court papers due to the severity of incited harassment by Anna Voivoda's friends, but will name in the witness list when I present it. Additionally, Rebecca Tenila, who was witness to my harassment with false court papers, and others who have been forced to support me through this and witness what has been happening. I would ask time and delay, please, to provide the court with that list, as there are quite a number of people who have been witnesses to parts of the reactive abuse and the coercive control abuse I have been put through in 2 years of trying to recover legal documents and medical records. I would also like to call witnesses based in Ireland who've witnessed the horrific abuse of police brutality I went through circa 2018 through to 2022, events Hannah Rivari has stated did not happen. Additional and supplemental. From the outset, I must state that I am disabled and struggling with severe post-traumatic stress disorder. Additionally, due to a refusal to return possessions, including a rucksack of important legal documents and other possessions and data by the opposing party, I have been on hunger strike for over 20 days, possibly nearly 40. I've had to take some days with clear broth, as the starving and chronic stress has caused bouts of severe gastritis. I have lost now 10 kilos or more, although to the now listener it's actually up to 15 kilos. It's hard to gauge as the scales is a little broken. Without a return of my rucksack of documents and a retraction of false statements related to my Irish police brutality case by Hannah Rivari and Anna Voivoda, I will not be resuming eating. Hunger strike has a long culture amongst my people, the Irish, and even has high court rulings about its validity as a form of protest against abuse and oppression. And I included a link there to the Irish Times. You can find it. The article is from the 2023, 1st to the 4th. And it's about a prisoner on hunger strike and their hunger strike being ruled as valid, as a valid form of legal protest. In terms of resisting abuse and oppression, it is an Irish person sauna and sisu rolled into one. As a native Finn, an island country that has also suffered horrific oppression and genocide, I am sure the court can understand that in following the ethos of Bobby Sands, under the weight of oppression and abuse, when you have nothing, the body is the weapon or the path to freedom. Questions and requests. PDF/digital copy of documents with reference to R25 888. Could I please have a digital copy or a digital PDF copy of the entire submission, please? I will need this so I can attempt to secure legal representation. As the Finnish state has decided I am banned from public legal aid and will not process legal aid applications, I will have to try and secure funding for a private attorney via supporters and friends. My apologies. I attempted to do this in 2024, but the lawyer, Hans Kivamäki, stole the fees and did no work. Did not even read the paperwork he was provided. And actually, listener, he cracked jokes about stealing the money. Humble request for delay. Additionally, it is July. Most lawyers are on holidays. I have to humbly and respectfully ask the court for a reasonable delay in this matter, so I can attempt to secure legal representation. I should not be representing myself in this matter. I do not wish to. I'm not a lawyer. I cannot speak nor write legal Finnish. I have previously loudly and clearly communicated this to the judges of the Helsinki District Court. Thus far, that has been ignored. And that is also, as will be shown, why I am taking this and related matters to the EU. As I understand it, the timing of this filing is supposed to coincide as a distraction or disruption to my communications with the EU and EU rights bodies. As the following email will evidence, I am disabled and in a unique position. 13 days is not enough for a destitute disabled person to secure legal representation, and I have to beg the court for more time to try and secure legal representation. I have to request delay, I'm sorry. 13 days is simply not enough for a disabled person to secure legal representation, especially for a case that more is made so complex by the level of fraud, a required list of witnesses to be called. This is especially important when, as can be shown, the Helsinki Legal Aid Office, and indeed all of legal aid, public legal aid, have told me they will not process any applications I file, and that includes just basic language and translation costs and rights. I believe and understand that, specifically as a disabled person, that is against the Finnish constitution, various points of language within various points of Finnish law, including the criminal code, the code on judicial procedure, the law and administrative courts. Even the Enforcement Act has points on this exact point. As I understand it, it's also against various points of EU law. As I cannot apply for an interpreter, as the Helsinki Legal Aid Office said they will refuse even language rights, I have an email from them telling me that no other legal aid office in Finland will either. I believe this puts us at a constitutional concern, as I, a disabled person, very definitely require a lawyer, based on previous false statements and false submissions by the opposing party, including statements that an Irish Circuit Criminal Court 4E pre-arraignment dismissal did not happen and that I'm engaged in fraud online, pretending to be a victim to con money out of people. I trust the court has a copy of the previous false statement submission for restraining order the opposite party filed. Legal Aid telling me they will not process applications even for basic translation and costs. I posted a link to the audio that's in this channel that you can find, and if you can't find it here, it's in the Odyssey account that's linked all over this. I can provide the raw audio to the court. If it so wishes, please advise. This conversation happened back related to prior evidence's fraudulent submission by the opposing party back in 2024. I have created a dedicated channel for uploading audio-visual evidence for the court, as in the past there was an issue getting audio and video to the court. Read the attested court judgment from the Irish High Court related to the points the opposing party has claimed to the Helsinki District Court did not happen. See attached photos. Disability, coercive control abuse, and torture and police brutality case. Please see attached my latest Finnish B certificate for disability. I'm disabled and require disability accommodations, please. Additionally, see attached the recent referral to the Deaconess Centre for the Treatment of Victims of Torture and War Crimes. I provided a link there to that centre. I think it details quite clearly what I've been going through. It also details issues of coercive control abuse quite clearly, which is important to the listed filing and the persons who keep abusing the Helsinki court and defrauding the Helsinki court, and should be read. Obviously, this is also part of complaints to EU bodies. I also have an American lawyer expert on coercive control, Kate Ambert, willing to be expert witness as to what has been happening to me and the process fraud, and the systems abuse being enacted by the opposing party to both defraud the Helsinki District Court and keep me a prisoner of coercive control abuse. Two other American experts, including Dr. Cocciola, are also able to take the witness stand on the matter and have been corresponded with. However, as I am destitute due to the opposing party and legal aid will not process even basic language applications, I am unsure how the court wishes to proceed on this or if it wishes to communicate to the legal aid office for me. I'm willing to attend the court to discuss this point, as given the ongoing involvement of EU's rights bodies, I believe this is important for the judge and the court. Obviously, these experts will need to be remote, and the court will require time for that to be organised. EU Commission and EU rights bodies. Important note, after speaking with the EU Commission and other EU rights and regulatory bodies, I'm in the middle of an EU Commission complaint. Another EU body complaints related to this matter and the actions of the Helsinki District Court and its representatives, and Helsinki Police in failing to protect a disabled person from coercive control abuse or even, their rights. Give me a second. As I'm disabled, that will be taking up most of my time and my replies may be delayed. I can direct the EU bodies assisting me to contact the court if the court wishes. Please advise. I am very sorry about this. Can the court please give direction? Perhaps the court agrees it is more advisable for me to just address this via EU bodies. Query and clarification request on, quote, couples therapy statements re Helsinki District Court representatives. Additionally, the Helsinki District Court representatives have previously written to me, and I believe Hanna Rivari and Anna Voivoverta, that the Helsinki Court representatives request that we stop treating the Helsinki Court like couples therapy, quote. And I have replied to the court regarding this, refuting it, and repeatedly stating I am terrified of the person and cannot even be in the same room as them, and obviously I'm requesting recognition of my disabled status and accommodations made so I do not have to be in the same room as them. Specifically, as they have repeatedly told me, they hold the power of life and death over me and get to decide when I die. Late September, early October 2023, which was also after cryptically telling me they were going to murder me, which basically was out of the blue telling me I would destroy love for them when I was dead, and I had no idea where that came from, and that was when the abuse basically, dear listener, escalated into dizzying levels. The application submission is puzzling. Do Helsinki District Court representatives hold contradictory positions? Which is the correct of these positions? Are we, myself and Anna, using, quote, the courts as couples therapy? I am unsure which is the official line of the Helsinki District Court or where that came from. It would appear the opposing party and her attorney have somehow communicated some contradictory information related to this matter, especially as I've been requesting the return of my belongings and no contact since approximately October 2023, but very intensely since December 2023, where I was also reduced to begging and offering monetary compensation in return for a cessation of abuse, and additionally had to cancel urgent hand surgery due to that abuse, despite my requesting for it to stop. Here is evidence of that. January 2024, and I provided a link to the cancelled hand surgery phone conversation that's in this channel. See the attached screenshot from December 14th, where I'm talking about that everything is over. I am specifically addressing the opposing party's continued obstruction and sabotage of my legal affairs, legal proceedings in Finland and Ireland. I have more of this. I have me refusing to meet the opposing party in December 2023 and January 2024 because I was scared of them and just asking them to post my belongings back. More importantly, I've been in a long-term relationship for much of the duration of this matter, and these claims by the Helsinki District Court have directly and severely distressed my partner and caused questions to be raised. Can the Helsinki District Court please clarify what its position is on this matter? I have tagged in Judge Mirko, as that came related to his court and other false and fraudulent filings by the opposing party. Query and clarification on ongoing theft and retraction of false statements. I have been requesting stolen items returned, including but not limited to the Irish High Court papers that I cannot replace, the Irish medical records that I cannot replace. As I am sure the judge is aware, the court system is very different in Ireland and very old-fashioned, and without spending hundreds, if not thousands of euros for sworn affidavits and sworn evidence exhibits, I cannot easily replace the stolen court papers, regardless of what the court seems to think. It also includes handwritten, not replaceable medical records, as the court can understand, where there is no easy or central means to get or replace these documents without immense financial expenditure. I am left in an impossible situation. And that just, dear listener, I've made it clear. The handwritten medical records are not replaceable. They don't exist anywhere else. I don't know what gibberish lies this fucking monster is telling people, but they can't be replaced. They're the only record. They were handed to me by my my doctor who died by cancer's wife after he died. They're the only copy in existence. I am left in an impossible situation, which is also why I've had to go to the EU. That theft and a retraction of false statement and defamation related to my Irish police brutality case, which Hannah Rivari has previously told the court did not happen, and I'm playing the victim to get money out of people. Also, as is clear in the following videos, the statement regarding Helsinki police are false. Please see the following links: Vanta Polisi, 09/06/2025, Vanta Polisi, the 13/6/2025, and Pasala, the 3/7/2025. Clarification request. Veno, there's a Finnish word, it's Veno Aminen. My Finnish is not as good as I wanted, and I'm very dyslexic. So sorry to any of the Finnish listeners. Additionally, as a humble request, could the Helsinki District Court explain to me the accusation of stalking or Veno Aminen? I have read the law repeatedly, and it appears to say, quote, a person who repeatedly threatens, follows, observes, contacts, or in some other manner comparable to those unlawfully stalks another person. There is no supplied evidence of the crime of stalking. I have not threatened Anna Voivoda. I have not followed Anna Voivoda. I have not observed Anna Voivoda. I have not contacted Anna Voivoda. I have not seen Anna Voivoda since approximately April 2024, despite her insistences and her demands and my requested no contact from her due to the abuse, and that I was scared of her repeatedly since 2023. See the PDF March Scared 2024. No evidence of stalking or Vano Aminen has been supplied. I do not understand how I can be served a court submission claiming something whilst no evidence has been supplied in a situation where I am again, against my will, forced to represent myself. I have to ask the court for clarification of this. How can I be accused of something with no supplied evidence? That is a very specific act. As the court could see from my B certificates and referral to the Centre for the Treatment of Victims of Torture and Victims of War Crimes, I am largely a recluse with chronic severe post-traumatic stress disorder and chronic pain. That coupled with the fact the opposing party keeps having her friends harass and at times physically assault me, means I rarely leave my apartment. And that is partially due to Anna Voivoda's defamation of me to her friends and incitement of them to harass me and in some cases physically assault me. 24th of July 24, YouTube link to evidence of harassment and assault. 29th of the 12th 2024, audio link to YouTube on these channels. The 5th of the 4th 2025, a video of me being harassed. That one involved physical assault and attempts to drag me out of that night bar. This is ongoing incited harassment via defamation, with more than one person is involved. Can the court please clarify how I am the one stalking? Coercive control abuse clarification. Attached is an email my social worker requesting help to my social worker requesting help with a restraining order against Anna Voivoda. From January 2024, for the listener, that was Melissa Dracula, and she broke the law because she actually was bound by this social work and disability law to help me get a restraining order, and she lied to me about the law for Anna Voivoda, and I never don't know why. From January 24th onwards, I was contacting Finnish domestic abuse organisations such as Safety Net, Monica, Sophie Mannerheim, Rico, Misaket, and other orgs like Pakau Pungan Torvakoti, who told me I was a victim of sex trafficking, and I will upload that call to that account shortly. Also, here are just some of these calls to the abuse organisations. I have more, and I provided links in the email. 17th of the 2nd, 2024, Sophie Mannerheim. 19th of the 2nd, Safety Net. Is it being suggested that as a journalist and a torture survivor, I cannot speak about the abuse I am suffering? I do require some clarification of that, as is evidence from the phone calls. Apparently, Nothing I'm saying is untrue. Uh, Re Hannah Rivari and the legal aid ban and being forced to represent myself against my legal wishes, my will, and my wishes. Just basically completely against my will. The submission I've been provided with today is unclear. Is the court counting lawyer Hannah Rivari and Anna Voiroverta as the one person? I do not understand how contact with Hannah Rivari counts as harassment of Anna Voiroverta when I have to contact Hannah Rivari due to the situation of being forced to represent myself. I'm not a trained legal professional. It's not ideal. So Hannah Rivari is also Anna Voiroverta in this case? Is that what the court is informing me? It is unclear. I am involved in court proceedings based on another prior false and fraudulent submission made by Hannah Rivari. As has been made clear, in a language I do not speak well, against my will, against my rights, I am forced to represent myself. Is the court saying that I am both, whilst being forced to represent myself, also not supposed to talk to the opposing side lawyer? Is that going to hold in court? I'm unsure how this works. Will that mean I have to attend on a different day as I can't speak when Hannah Rivari is in the room, as that will be counted as harassment of Anna Voiroverta? This is very unclear. My apologies. I was not aware two people could be one person. Can I please see the act of law where that is clarified so I can make sense of it? Additionally, I have filed bar complaint against Hannah Rivari. Another one is coming based on unethical practice and fraud of the court. I would have to request she is removed from the proceedings based on her history of accusing me of lying about police brutality and torture I've suffered. My sincere apologies for the long query. I hope the court is amenable to my disability accommodations and request for delay to try and secure legal representation, given my exceptional situation. Thank you for taking the time to read this. My sincere apologies. E.F. Fluff. P.S. Sorry. Also, is it fine if I continue to speak to American journalist who is writing a story about this, right? As that's America, it's not covered. And then, listener, there was 12 files attached. While I might put up additional audio, while I walk, of videos from SoundCloud and stuff, this is my final, I think, audio, aside from the one I will make by the sea. Thank you for, the people who did try to help. To Judge Gisela McPherson, I fucking told you not to call my bluff. You could have just given me my fucking rights. All you know is smash, smash, smash. Not gonna fucking work with me. Happy trails, motherfucker. An additional very last note. There was no reason for any of this. The person in question had all my B certificates and, is an expert in trauma, although they did lie to me about that. They could have just returned my belongings. Everything they've done as a master's of psychology, never my psychologist, regarding my belongings, regarding the false statements about my mental health, all very clearly evidences severe abuse by a professional. There's no other truth to this. And the court and whoever else can try and deny my B certificates or that things didn't happen in the face of overwhelming evidence that it did, and just embarrass itself. And this is just another step in the embarrassment of law that the Helsinki District Court has made itself in wrapping itself up in a rope circle of trying to out-bigot and out-corrupt the truth and cold hard facts. And there's no other point to it. So, that's it's just, public bullying to death. And I I refuse.